Hey guys, how's it going? This is Michael.
This is Kyle.
And this is Marlee.
And this is our reaction to Pokemon Detective Pikachu. The whole gang is back together. We haven't done this in a while. Marlee, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm at college now, so I hope I look older to everyone.
Been our first episode. Actually, you know what? Here, we're going to do a quick little cutout right here of what Marlee looked like in our first.
It's good.
Did you just push it away?
She did. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that, too. I'm going to add it.
Yeah. So
we are on location right now at Santa Clara University, and in a dorm room, which is why we're on a bed right now. And we just watched a movie that we've been looking forward to for a very long time. If somebody would have asked you
20
years ago, they said, "Hey, there's going to be a live action Pokemon movie," what would your reaction have been?
I never thought it would have happened.
No.
It's just video game movies stink, first of all. But if there was one movie that was going to get it right, it was going to be like a Pokemon movie that put like a lot of effort into it. But I never thought it was going to happen. I just figured it'd be a cartoon thing. Nintendo's known for being very like inclusive and not like putting their properties out like that. And Game Freak too. So I never thought it was going to happen.
Marlee, what about you? What's been your experience with Pokemon?
Well, 20 years ago, I wasn't born yet. I was almost born.
That was a while ago.
But I mean, watching you guys grow up and play with all the Pokemon and doing the Pokemon cards and whatnot, and this new app that came out, like a couple years ago,
Pokemon
that
Go.
everyone is still playing. You're still playing.
Yep.
I mean, mostly that's it. So I think I know like the basic Pokemon and stuff, but I'm not like I didn't grow up with it. So I mean, I'm sure I don't. You guys have the nostalgia factor that I don't have.
Right.
But, I mean,
that's true.
So really you didn't grow up with it,
but so
you grew up with nostalgia, but are not like a hardcore Pokemon fan.
I'd say that I'm in between like everyone nowadays, where like I feel like a lot of people my age don't know Pokemon as much unless they're like really invested in it. But I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle because I had you guys who were playing with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I know more than the average person, but I'm nowhere like close to the nostalgia factor.
So I remember,
how many Pokemon do you think you could have named in the movie?
In the movie, if I was going through it,
let's say there were 50 Pokemon who they actually rendered and put in the movie. How many of those?
Well, how about 100? That way she could do a percentage. So there of 100 Pokemon.
You can't double 50.
Well, this isn't a math class we're doing.
Yeah. How many do you think you could have named?
That I saw in the movie, maybe like 15.
So okay, that's a pretty decent amount.
That's not bad.
That's like what? Do the math real quick. Yeah, that's about 30%. But I remember when Pokemon Go first came out.
How many do you think you could have named?
I could have named 85% of them.
Okay, I could have named 99% of them.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I could have named all those.
I did have to turn to you a few times to be like, "Hey, Kyle, what's that guy's name?" But I remember when Pokemon Go first came out, we all played it and we were all excited. We were all going on a Pokewalk, which is where you walk and then you run into Pokemon and you catch them. And then the first rare one that we saw was Flareon, which is Eevee's evolved form, and actually who you see in the movie. And Marlee, we all went to go try to capture it, and I caught it, Kyle caught it, and then Marlee didn't catch it. It ran away. It popped out and ran away. And Marlee's like, "I'm done with this game." She quit the game, and that's when she stopped playing. You remember that?
I don't really remember it, but it sounds about
right. You said it in our Pokemon Go review that one time that we had the Pokemon Go
and you haven't played since.
I don't think I ever played it after that.
That was literally the last time you played. And we were super excited because we both caught it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get into the meat and the bones. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Kyle and I both saw it twice. Marlee, you saw it once. We just saw the movie.
I didn't know you guys saw it twice. I thought we were all seeing it for the first time today.
Yeah, no. We had already
that long?
Yeah, we'd seen it the weekend it came out.
How long has it been out?
Just a week or two. This is the second weekend. This is the second.
We said exactly a week ago.
Yeah, we did. Okay. So I'm curious from somebody who didn't grow up with Pokemon, what was your experience like with that movie?
Well, like as a movie, just a regular movie, and not thinking about it as like a nostalgia factor.
No, you can have a nostalgia factor in there, but like just so you didn't.
No, I'm saying
she's saying okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So like for me, I just thought it was a really good movie in general, just because it was really entertaining. Like if you knew a little bit of the characters beforehand, it gave you more of a connection to them. I feel like just generally a lot of people just know Pikachu, even if you didn't grow up with Pokemon or anything. Like you know who Pikachu is, so like him being the star of the movie, like the co-star of the movie, really like just had people more connected and relating with it. And then Ryan Reynolds, like how do you get like a better actor and a funnier actor than him.
Yeah.
And just like he really just brought it all together, because I don't think if you would have thought of like, okay guys, we're gonna make a Pokemon movie, like who are we gonna cast as Pikachu's voice?
Yeah,
I think he would be the last choice.
Yeah, yeah, I was not thinking Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, in the video game, the Detective, like, because it's based off the video game.
Yeah.
The voice that is like kind of with is like, he's like a more gruff, older, like
a grungy
like
guy.
hey toots, you know, like
an old time detective.
I don't like that.
Like a 50s detective.
So there was a huge movement to cast Danny DeVito as the voice of Pikachu in Detective Pikachu.
Oh, I could see that. I could see that.
But when you heard Ryan Reynolds was announced, so now the question is, did you buy Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, or did you hear Deadpool for a lot of the movie? Or
because you know him mostly obviously through Deadpool. That's kind of been the most thing to you.
Or The Proposal, or all the other movies he's done.
I like a lot of
as far as voice though.
Voice wise, definitely you heard, like, I feel like you did hear Deadpool, but he's just, I feel like that's just him. Like when I hear Deadpool, I don't hear Deadpool, I hear like Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Right.
And so when I hear his voice, I didn't think of Deadpool, I just thought of like Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
And
same thing with Pikachu?
Yeah.
You just heard Ryan Reynolds.
I just heard Ryan Reynolds. So I mean his voice, even though he's done a lot of things like for Deadpool and other movies, I think it fit with the funny trying to buddy cop movie that they were trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually really like the promos that they put out. Did you guys see the promos that they put out before the movie? I'm sure. The trailers. The one where he was saying that he was given a story that he was on his way to go pick up his daughter from school, and he got the call, right? He got the call that he got the part for Pikachu, and then he goes on and says, I didn't pick up my daughter from school that day, because Pikachu doesn't know that person. And he's like, I got immediately into character, and I left my wife, I left my kids, and then it cuts to Blake Lively, and she's so like, funny. It cuts to Blake Lively, she's like, he abandoned us. He left our kids at the school.
You should put a clip in that right here.
We really should. Okay, we'll do it right now. Flash.
I lived it, I breathed it, I became the character. I spent the entire year as Detective Pikachu. This is a funny anecdote. I was on my way to pick up my daughters from school when I heard that I got the role. Well, I didn't show up at school because Detective Pikachu, he doesn't know who those two little girls are. Who are they?
They're our daughters. He just left them.
That's really funny. They're the side note. They're the best couple.
They're a pretty cute couple.
Funny.
I also
they're two 12s who came together and are just like 12s in looks. 12s in personality.
Yeah.
Just
I thought the scale was not a 10.
Exactly. That is it.
Oh.
Like it's an out of 10 and they're 12.
So when I'm told I'm a 7, that's not good.
I would say 4.
A 12 and a 7.
The scale's like higher than I thought it was. It wasn't out of 10.
Celebrity scales.
When I'm told I'm a 7, it's like out of 50.
So we'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible for anybody out there who hasn't seen it yet. Kyle, you saw it twice. Kyle, what was your quick take on that?
I really for the first like 20 minutes of that movie, there was like the biggest grin on my face.
It really was.
I
agree with that too.
It's like it's not really a spoiler, but like you start out with like these panning shot of like Pidgeotto flying through the grass and everything, and it's just the greatest thing this movie had going for it was I think the world building, because like you felt like you were in the world of Pokemon. It was a mix of like Japanese and like Western location.
Yep.
But it felt very unique, and it really felt like it was a world lived in by Pokemon, and they addressed that very cleverly in the movie, where it's like this city that you spend the majority, pretty much all your time in, is isolated from the rest of like the Sinnoh region, the Kanto region, like all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And they said there's no Pokeballs, there's no battling. It's just a community where Pokemon and humans live together, and you got a sense of that.
I thought it was funny though, because I mean, not to turn into like a critic channel, but I meant like too critical.
Like someone would say universal critic, for example.
No, but like they did do a lot of heavy exposition through. Like,
yes, they did.
Like through videos or things, which are like.
Well, not even videos. At one point, there was like the lab tech was literally just saying things as exposition and literally talking to nobody.
And it was like
it's a lab person. I mean, there's gonna be lab people.
Spoiler: there's a lab in the movie.
So not a lab. I said lab person. You said that there was an actual lab, so that was your spoiler.
You don't know if we're talking about a laboratory person or a Labrador.
That's right, or a Labradoodle. Continue.
I was just saying that like obviously with it being such a complicated plot and story, and you want to get to like the funny parts and like the meat of the story, you need to your audience to know things. I
definitely thought that was for like the general audience, like the parents who are going, the people who have no idea what Pokemon is or don't follow it.
Yeah. No, I understand that for sure. I just thought that sometimes, you know, when you're watching a movie and you know it's a really good movie when you don't think it's a movie.
Yes, exactly.
And so when they said things like that, like heavy exposition, I was like, okay, this is a movie. You're just telling
taking
me
you
all
out
the
of
things
it.
I need to know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't, it was done in a good way. So, I mean, I don't mind it that much. I noticed it.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really cool. I really liked the first 2 acts. I thought they were amazing. The 3rd act, I got a little about the plot. But it was great overall. Seeing the different Pokemon, the way they texturized them and having them interact with the environment. There's really only one scene where the CG was really bad.
Iffy. It was iffy.
It was and if you're watching the movie, like, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it was just that one scene that they needed a little bit more post on. But other than that, the CG in the movie was really good. The integration with the Pokemon, eye contact. I was looking.
Did you like the designs? Because I remember when we first reviewed the movie, you weren't too happy with the designs, and I remember saying in the trailer review that I got a feeling this is one of those movies that, like, it's shocking when you first see it, but then you get used to it, and then by the time the movie actually comes out, you're like, yeah, I'm ready.
That's kind of it. And a lot of the different Pokemon had different textures to go along with it too. So like there was a lot of things going on, and it was really cool. I got used to it. I was completely fine with that. I was completely fine with Ryan Reynolds too. I thought he did a good job. And I really like Justice Smith too. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I think the weakness of the movie was probably the human characters and like just their sort of interaction. I thought whenever there were Pokemon on screen, whenever Ryan Reynolds was on screen, and their interaction with them was great, but the human to human interactions I thought was probably not to say it was bad, but it was the weakest part of the movie. And I also thought the girl Lucy overacted a few times.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
especially on the intro when she first came in.
Yeah, she really felt like an anime character, and
I felt like that was a directorial choice, though. I don't think that was necessarily her, because she calmed it down the rest of them.
But it was in such contrast with Justice Smith, who had all the heavy emotional stuff that he had to do and pull off. And Lucy was just very animated, like an anime character, which, you know, I figure pick one or the other, and because it felt clashy at times, but whenever she was more subdued, she did a really good job.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you could also, like, I agree with you. Sometimes she was like, I did get the sense of like, oh, she's really like into the Pokemon world, and he's very like a normal person in a Pokemon world. Yeah, and so I thought that maybe though that was their goal for it a little bit. It'd be like, okay, like she lives in the city. She's in it. She's in the Pokemon world for 100%. And he's an insurance agent. He lives in the outside thing. He does not interact with Pokemon. He doesn't have a little sidekick. Like, so he is a normal person in the Pokemon world.
He's he's like the audience surrogate.
Exactly.
In the movie.
And at the same, because you can say that for the other detective, his friend, the dad's friend.
Ken Watanabe's character, the lieutenant.
So like, he was intense. Like, for the time that he was on.
I liked him. I wish there was more of him.
Yeah.
On the thing.
I don't know. I was like, that's such a waste of him. I love him.
Yeah.
From
Inception.
He
is. He's a guy from Inception. Yeah.
So good. But yeah, I was just saying that, like, I liked the contrast a little bit, and towards the end she did tone it down a little bit, but I thought it was very interesting to see, like, she is what Pokemon embodies, right? Like the anime character style.
Yeah, the super like eccentric kind of part of it. Yeah, that's super cool.
I was also geeking out with the opening scene.
Oh yeah,
with the like the laboratory, cool. And it was very reminiscent of an older Pokemon movie.
It was a reference.
Yeah, it was definitely right. And there's so many references. And like you can go frame by frame and look at the posters in the background, or if you're at the police station, you can see the wanted poster.
Oh, there's so much Pokemon. Detail in the movie. It was so cool, and there's like a lot of references to past games and like future, and like it's really cool. It makes me. I hope there's going to be a sequel. I hope this one does well enough to kind of launch a Pokemon cinematic universe.
That's exactly what the idea is.
Awesome.
And they're already filming Detective Pikachu 2. Oh, not film. I'm sorry. They're already writing Detective Pikachu 2. It's already been greenlit for a sequel. It's really too bad that it's not doing better in the theaters. Like, it's doing well, but I really thought it would be doing better. But Endgame is also taking away a lot of sales right now. So it came out,
and that should be it. Now that if you guys want us to do an Endgame one, let us know on that one, because we have a lot to say about Endgame as well. All right. Anyway,
out of 10.
Out of 10.
7.5.
7.5. Kyle.
Mine was an 8, and I think seeing it the second time made me give it an 8.5. But there's also a lot of nostalgic here.
Yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia there. Mine's 7.5, and I think seeing it again stays at 7.5.
I would have given it like probably a 6 or a 7, but Ryan Reynolds just really
he definitely he carried the movie for sure.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We are Universal Critics, and we are back with Marlee. Amazing. She's going to be on for every future episode.
Yeah.
That she's already promised that. Get it in writing. Anyway, and as always, this is Michael.
This is Kyle.
This is Marlee.
And this has been a critique on the universe of movies.